the biggest thing that people were worried about phasing out with the end of the TCJA sunset was what's going to happen to brackets. And well, the very first section of the new bill talks about we're extending the brackets. So the brackets are the same as what they were, sort of. There's actually a little bit of nuance to what's happening with the brackets. So what's happening is they actually added a doubling of inflation adjustment for 2026. We think for the lowest two brackets. Let me show you on screen. I'm going to show you on screen the language. It talks about which brackets are impacted by this special double secret inflation. It says Section 1J3BI, my favorite section, is amended by inserting solely for the purposes of determining the dollar amounts at which any rate bracket higher than 12% ends and which any rate bracket higher than 22% begins. We read that to mean that we adjust the limit between the 10 and 12% bracket, and we adjust the limit between the 12 and the 22% bracket at this double level. You basically double the inflation amount, but then everything from the top of the 22% bracket onward, you just use normal 1x inflation. So let me show you what that would look like practically. So what I have on screen here is I've got what it would have been. So Tax Cuts and Jobs Act with no sunset. So here I have a 2% inflation assumption versus the current law 2% inflation adjustment. I can see what the system, now this is 2026, so we don't actually know the actual tax brackets yet, so I'm using an assumption amount. I'm using a derived amount here based on a 2% inflation assumption, which you can change, by the way, if you want to change that to some other assumption. But let me run tax report real quick. So this is tax report on the old law. The 12% bracket was due to end at 98,850. That assumes 1 year of 2% inflation. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to run the same report using basically inflating the top of that 10% bracket and the top of the 12% bracket twice, and we'll see what that looks like. So here, the top of my 12% bracket ends at 100,850. Again, these are estimates. It's based on a 12% assumption. But just to flip back and forth between the two, here is with just 1 year of inflation applied, 24,300 at top of the 10% bracket, 98,850 above at the top of the 12% bracket, 210,800 at the top of the 22% bracket. Here's the one that's like the double secret inflation. You can see the 22% bracket ends in the same place, but the 10% and 12% brackets end a little bit higher because of this. So basically the lower brackets we make a little bit bigger. That 22% bracket we shrink down a little bit because it starts a little bit higher, but then everything above 22% is just the same either way. The one thing I'll call out here from a financial advisor perspective is the 12% bracket is now 6 figures. Right? I mean, assuming a 2% inflation rate, we'll see what it ends up being, but over $100,000 fills up the 12% bracket now. And so that's a first. I mean, it was, I think in 2025, it's 96,000 or something like that. So 2026 is likely to be the first year in which the 12% bracket indeed goes above $100,000.